Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to History at War. Today we delve into a fascinating and often overlooked aspect of history. In this video, we look into the British and American Allied war on the Bolshevik forces during the Russian Revolution, the forgotten Western War on communism. To better understand the Allied intervention in the Russian Civil War, let's first delve into the context surrounding the conflict. The Russian Revolution of 1917 marked a seismic shift in Russia's political landscape, as it overthrew the provisional government and led to the rise of the Bolsheviks, a radical socialist group led by Vladimir Lenin. The Bolsheviks established a new government with the aim of creating a communist state, implementing sweeping reforms, and nationalizing key industries. However, the revolutionary changes triggered widespread opposition from various groups who were critical of the Bolshevik regime. These anti-Bolshevik forces, collectively known as the White Army, were a heterogeneous mix of factions, including supporters of the old monarchy, moderate socialists, and other anti-communist elements. Their primary goal was to overthrow the Bolshevik government and restore a more traditional form of governance, and to also seek revenge for the murder of the House of Romanov, the Russian royal family who were brutally murdered by the Bolshevik forces. Amidst the internal turmoil in Russia, several Western countries, particularly Britain, expressed deep concerns about the potential spread of communism beyond Russia's borders. They feared that if the Bolsheviks were successful in consolidating their power, it might inspire similar revolutionary movements in other parts of the world, undermining established governments and threatening Western interests. These fears were compounded by the Bolsheviks' ideology, which called for a worldwide workers' revolution and the eventual establishment of a global communist state. This ideology clashed directly with the capitalist systems and traditional geopolitical alignments of many Western nations. As a result, the Allied powers, including Britain, decided to intervene in the Russian Civil War by providing support to the White Army. Their intervention was not only motivated by anti-communist sentiment, but also driven by strategic considerations. For the Allied powers, having a friendly and stable Russia was crucial to securing the Eastern Front during World War I. The conflict provided them with an opportunity to protect their economic interests, particularly in areas like the Arctic, the Black Sea region, and the Far East. The prospect of a powerful communist state alarmed the British authorities, who believed it might inspire revolutionary movements in other parts of the world. Additionally, Britain wanted to protect its investments and ensure the repayment of loans it had extended to the pre-revolutionary Russian government. The British provided significant military aid to the White Army. They dispatched weapons, ammunition, and other essential supplies to bolster the anti-Bolshevik forces. British advisors and military experts were also sent to train and support the White Army in their struggle against the Bolsheviks. They collaborated with other Allied forces, such as American and French contingents, to create a more unified front against the Reds. A crucial theater of British and Allied intervention during the Russian Civil War was northern Russia, specifically the region around Archangel. In the summer of 1918, British and other Allied troops, including French and American contingents, landed in Archangel with the intent of aiding the anti-Bolshevik Northern Army, also known as the North Russia Expeditionary Force. Archangel held great strategic importance. The port city was ice-free during the warmer months and provided a vital access point to the Arctic Ocean. By securing Archangel, the Allies sought to establish a secure supply route to sustain the White forces with much-needed military equipment, food, and other provisions. Additionally, the region was rich in natural resources, including timber and minerals, making it valuable to the Allies' war effort. Upon their arrival in Archangel, the Allied forces faced a challenging situation. The North Russia Expeditionary Force found themselves in a harsh and unfamiliar environment, unaccustomed to the extreme cold of the Arctic region. They also encountered difficulties in coordinating their efforts with the local anti-Bolshevik forces, who had their own goals and priorities. In 1918, during the Battle of Emsa in September, British forces and allies clashed with the Bolsheviks in a bid to secure control over the Emsa railway station. The battle was intense and marked by fierce fighting. Despite facing a determined Bolshevik defense, the British and American troops, alongside their Allied counterparts, managed to gain control of the station after several days of heavy combat. The victory enabled them to reinforce the supply line and provide essential support to the White Army. This was the first major success against the Bolshevik forces. For the next year or so, there were many battles that the Allied forces waged against the Bolshevik forces. One battle a year later, the Battle of Shenkursk, fought in early 1919, was another significant engagement during the Allied intervention. British and American forces, together with White Army units, battled the Bolsheviks for control of the town of Shenkursk. The fighting was brutal and lasted for weeks. However, the Allies succeeded in driving the Bolshevik forces out of Shenkursk and dealing them with a lot of killed in action. This dealt a blow to their advance in the region. Despite their determination, the Allied forces encountered numerous challenges during their intervention. Firstly, their objectives were not always aligned, with different Allied nations having varying interests in Russia. This lack of cohesion undermined their effectiveness on the battlefield. Additionally, the harsh Russian winter and the vastness of the country made it extremely difficult to maintain consistent supply lines, weakening their overall support for the White Army. Before the Allies needed to retreat from Russia, 3 more vital battles took place. The Battle of Dvina River, fought in August 1919, was a pivotal moment in the Allied intervention. British and other Allied troops joined forces with the White Army to confront the Bolsheviks along the Dvina River. The river's strategic location made it crucial for securing the northern flank of the White Army and maintaining vital supply lines to the port city of Archangel. The fighting along the Dvina River was intense and relentless. The Allied forces faced fierce resistance from the well-organized and determined Bolshevik troops. Yet they pressed forward, inch by inch, in their pursuit to support the White Army and counter the spread of communism. In March 1919, the British and American forces played a vital role in the Battle of Onega. This battle was centered around the port city of Onega, which had fallen into Bolshevik hands. The objective was to recapture Onega and establish a secure base in the region to bolster the White Army's position. The combined Allied efforts proved decisive as they launched a coordinated assault against the Bolsheviks. After fierce fighting and strategic maneuvers, they succeeded in driving out the Red Army from Onega. This victory allowed the Allies and the White Army to create a fortified position, solidifying their presence in the region. Another notable engagement was the Battle of Bolshi-Ozerki, which took place in July 1919. British forces fought side by side with the White Army to counter a Bolshevik offensive near the village of Bolshi-Ozerki. The battle was fierce, with both sides fiercely vying for control of the strategic location. The British and the White Army demonstrated remarkable resilience, successfully pushing back the Bolshevik forces and halting their advance. This triumph bolstered the confidence of the Allies and further strengthened the resolve of the White Army. As the Russian Civil War dragged on and the White Army faced mounting challenges, the Allied forces found themselves in a precarious position. Despite their efforts and sacrifices, the intervention did not alter the war's outcome. And by early 1920, the tide had turned decisively in favor of the Bolsheviks. The Russian Civil War was a grueling and protracted conflict, lasting from 1917 to 1922. The White Army, beset by internal divisions, struggled to maintain cohesion and a unified front against the Red Army. Meanwhile, the Bolsheviks, under the leadership of figures like Trotsky and Stalin, demonstrated fierce determination and strategic acumen. The Red Army's advantages in terms of manpower, ideological conviction, and centralized control ultimately gave them the upper hand. They effectively capitalized on the White Army's weaknesses and gradually gained the upper hand in the conflict. By October 1919, recognizing the deteriorating situation and the diminishing prospects of a White Army victory, the last British troops withdrew from Archangel. This marked the end of the Allied intervention in Russia. The Allied intervention in the Russian Civil War had profound consequences. Firstly, it cemented the Bolsheviks' rise to power, leading to the establishment of the Soviet Union in December 1922. The Soviet Union emerged as a powerful and influential state, dramatically altering global politics and becoming a key player in international affairs. Despite noble intentions, the Allied intervention in the Russian Civil War ultimately proved unsuccessful. As the Bolsheviks solidified their power and the Allies withdrew, history was set on a new trajectory, marked by ideological struggles and geopolitical tensions. However, it is estimated that the death toll for the Russian Civil War ranges from several hundred thousand to over 10 million people. The casualties were distributed among various factions, including the Red Army, Bolsheviks, the White Army, anti-Bolshevik forces, and other independent forces and paramilitary groups. British casualties. Several thousand British troops lost their lives during the intervention, including both combat and non-combat related deaths. American casualties. The number of American casualties is estimated to be in the hundreds to the thousands, as the United States sent troops, particularly to the northern regions of Russia. French and other Allied casualties. France and other Allied nations also contributed troops, but their numbers and casualty figures were smaller compared to the British and American forces. Considering the devastating toll of the recent World War I, the Allied countries faced a considerable challenge in mustering troops for this current conflict. With their populations still reeling from the massive losses endured in the previous war, they found themselves constrained in their ability to deploy substantial numbers of men to the battlefield. And that concludes our journey through the Allied intervention in the Russian Civil War. The war against communism. We hope you found this historical exploration enlightening and captivating. The Russian Civil War and the Allied intervention were complex chapters in history, shaped by political intrigue, ideological struggles, and the aftermath of World War I. It serves as a reminder of the complexities and challenges that arise when foreign powers intervene in civil conflicts. We'd love to hear your thoughts and insights on this topic, so please share them in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions for future historical explorations, let us know. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and continue exploring the annals of history.